Why does the U.S. offer asylum to people? This is a law that we've had in place since after World War II, when we as a nation failed to protect Jewish refugees who were fleeing the Holocaust, just like so many other countries did during that time. And after the war, we decided we're never going to do that again. We are going to protect people who are fleeing persecution, whose countries won't protect them. And we created a structure and a set of laws more than 40 years ago. We've developed case law and regulations and rules about how people qualify. It's a firmly entrenched part of our country, and it is part of who we are. And there are specific people who qualify for asylum and many who want asylum who don't qualify for it. But the thing is, we've known for a real long time who it is who qualifies, and so upending it and changing it only creates more chaos and confusion, when in fact, we've had a pretty structured system in place for a while. Okay, so who qualifies for asylum? In order to qualify, you have to be at the border or in the country. That's an important distinction. Then you have to prove that you have suffered persecution on account of or because of something protected about you, like your race, your religion, your nationality, your political opinion, or your membership in a particular social group. And if you can show that you have a credible fear or you've suffered past persecution, your country can't or won't protect you, and the reason you were persecuted was because of one of these protected things, you could qualify for asylum. It's actually a pretty specific set of people, and there's lots of people who don't end up qualifying, but also there's lots of people who do qualify. For someone who's seeking asylum at the border, let's say they don't have permission to enter the country. They don't have a tourist visa or a student visa, but they're actually at the border using the CBP One app. The way that they're going to seek asylum is through something we call defensive asylum. That means if they get processed into the country, if they're lucky enough to be able to get in, they then get registered for removal proceedings or deportation proceedings, where they go before an immigration judge and they put forth their case with evidence and testimony and experts, and they prepare for a final hearing, at which point the judge says either you qualify for asylum and you get to stay, or you don't qualify for asylum and you get an order of deportation. Let's say someone is seeking asylum and they're not at the border. Maybe they entered legally, they had a visa, and now they're afraid of returning to their country. They're going to seek asylum through something called the affirmative asylum process. This means that they're not in deportation proceedings, and they actually file the asylum application with U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. This type of asylum applicant goes to an interview at the end of their process before an asylum officer, which is really long. It can be many hours. They have to give a lot of testimony and a lot of evidence, but the person deciding is an officer. It's not a judge. And these applications can take anywhere from 6 weeks to 6 years. It really, really varies depending upon where they apply and what's going on at the time. Let's say someone is in the affirmative asylum process. They came in with a visa, they're afraid of returning to their country, they filed an asylum application, they've gone all the way through the interview, and the asylum officer doesn't think they qualify for whatever reason. In that case, they're going to get what's called a referral to immigration court. It's a denial, but the good news is you get a second bite at the apple. This applicant would get referred to deportation proceedings where they put forth their asylum case before an immigration judge, and the immigration judge will review their case as if it's fresh and new, all the evidence, all the testimony, and then that judge will decide whether this person gets to stay and have asylum or whether this person will be deported and have to go back to their country. We hear about defensive asylum versus affirmative asylum. The main simple difference is that defensive asylum is somebody who is in deportation proceedings before an immigration judge. Most of the people who come in at the border seeking asylum are in defensive asylum proceedings. But there's a lot of people who don't come in at the border. Let's say someone is here on a work visa and some coup occurs in their country and now they're not safe to return. Well, that person also can seek asylum by filing an application. That's what's called an affirmative asylum application. They're not in deportation proceedings, but if their asylum case is denied and they're out of legal status, they will get referred to defensive asylum or deportation proceedings to seek asylum before an immigration judge. I've been an immigration attorney in Texas for a couple of decades almost now, and I've done thousands of asylum cases. I see it a lot. I've worked with people from all over the country, and I can help you with asylum cases. So if you or someone you love needs help staying here because they're afraid of returning to their country, feel free to reach out to my firm and we can talk through with them what their options are and what their chances are, whether it's worth it, and all of the questions that they might have before they file their application. Also, we'll help them understand important deadlines so that they don't miss eligibility.